She pulled the yearbook from a box of her mother's things, dust settling in the late afternoon light. The pages fell open to a place someone had signed long ago. Bev, thanks for not making this weird. He's all yours. Take care of him. 1991.
1991? But the affair was in 1995. That can't be right.
For 25 years, Sharon had grown up believing her father cheated with his high school sweetheart, Amy.
Since age 6, her mother had told her the story of a betrayal that shattered their family.
The math was brutal. The affair her mother described couldn't have happened.
She lied to me my whole life.
Sharon closed the yearbook. The weight of a 25-year story suddenly lighter than dust. The old truth was gone, and now she needed to find the new one. The memory surfaced without warning. Her mother's voice, breaking, the first time she ever heard the name Amy.
Your father has been unfaithful for years with a woman named Amy, his high school sweetheart.
From that afternoon, Amy became the ghost in every argument. The reason for the cold silences between her parents.
1995, she always said. That was the year it happened. 4 years after that yearbook inscription.
George never corrected her. He swallowed the lie so his daughter wouldn't have to choose between her parents.
I grew up hating a woman who had already moved on before I was born. I built my father's funeral around that hate.
The stories her mother had woven were now unwinding, and every thread pulled at something Sharon thought was real.
If this was a lie, then everything I thought I knew about my family was wrong.
She turned the page again. The blue ink, a mark left by a woman who had simply wished them well.
I can't just sit here. I have to know the truth. Whatever it costs.
Sharon found her mother in the living room, arranging old photo albums on the coffee table.
Mom, I was going through some boxes upstairs and found your old yearbook.
Oh, that old thing. I haven't looked at it in years.
There was a note inside from someone named Amy, dated 1991.
Amy? I don't remember any note, but yes, that's the woman your father had an affair with.
She's not even asking what the note said. She's already on the defensive.
Why are you bringing this up now, Sharon? Your father is gone. Let it rest.
She's hiding something. I can see it in the way she won't meet my eyes.
I have a headache. We'll talk about the estate later.
She's not going to tell me the truth. I have to find someone who will.
She called Kathleen, her mother's oldest friend, and asked to meet at a quiet coffee shop downtown.
Thanks for meeting me, Kathleen. I found something in my mom's old yearbook that doesn't add up.
Sharon, this is delicate. Your mother and I have been friends for 50 years.
The note is from Amy, thanking her for not making things weird. It's dated 1991, but my mom says the affair was in 1995.
I always thought that timeline was off. Amy moved across the country in 1992. I never heard of her again.
So she didn't even come back. The affair couldn't have happened. My mother lied.
I am not saying it didn't happen, just... I never understood how it could have, but Beverly was so insistent.
Do you think Pamela might know more? She was close to the situation, wasn't she?
Kathleen gave a reluctant nod. Sharon left the coffee shop with her suspicion now a quiet certainty.
Pamela will tell me the rest. I am sure of it.
Pamela's living room was neat, with framed photos on every shelf. She gestured for Sharon to sit.
Pamela, I need to ask you about Amy. My mother's story doesn't match what I found in her yearbook.
There was no affair, Sharon. Not in 1995. Not ever. Your mother made it up.
Just like that. The story I built my life around gone in 3 sentences.
Beverly wanted George. She pursued him while he was still with Amy. Amy stepped aside to avoid the drama. I was there. I saw it. Amy moved away in 1992 and never came back. There was no contact.
2 people who were there say the same thing. The affair was a fabrication.
If you want the full truth, ask Amy herself. She's a kind woman. She'll tell you.
I need to hear it from her. That's the only way to bury this for good.
Sharon thanked Pamela and stepped outside, already thinking of how to find a woman she'd been taught to hate. The moment Sharon walked in, Beverly's voice cut through the kitchen from the living room.
I got a call from Kathleen. You've been digging into my past.
I found a yearbook message that doesn't match what you told me, Mom. I am just trying to understand.
Understand what? That you are accusing me of lying about your father's affair?
She's trying to make me the bad guy. The guilt trip won't work.
This is family business, Sharon. You are supposed to trust me, not run around gossiping with my friends.
Trust doesn't mean ignoring evidence. The timeline doesn't work. Amy moved away before I was born.
You don't know what you are talking about. I gave you a family, and this is how you repay me.
She's still deflecting, but I can't give her the full truth yet. I need Amy's words first.
Sharon didn't answer. She walked past her mother, the rift between them deepening, in her apartment. Sharon opened her laptop, the blue light cutting through the evening dimness.
Amy, the name I was taught to hate. Now I need her voice to set the record straight.
The search took minutes. An old Facebook profile appeared. Picture of a woman with graying blonde hair, soft smile.
This is her, the woman my mother called a homewrecker. She looks kind.
Sharon's fingers hovered over the keyboard before she began typing a message. Hi, Amy. I am Sharon, Beverly and George's daughter. I found something in an old yearbook that doesn't match what I grew up believing. Could we talk? She read it 3 times, then pressed send before her courage failed.
Now, I wait. And hope she doesn't think I am some crazy person.
Her phone sat on the desk, silent. She couldn't stop glancing at it.
Everything depends on whether a stranger who owes me nothing decides to reply.
The waiting became unbearable, so she grabbed her keys and drove to the cemetery. She parked at the gates and walked the familiar path to her father's grave. She stood there, the weight of the past weeks pressing on her chest.
I don't know what to believe anymore, Dad. Everything she told me about Amy, it might have all been a lie. I am sorry if I believed the wrong things all these years. I just want the truth.
Her phone buzzed in her pocket, shattering the silence. Amy had replied, Sharon, I'd be happy to talk. Give me a call when you are ready.
She actually replied. Now I have to hear it from her own mouth.
Sharon typed a quick reply, setting a time for the next evening.
Tomorrow, I'll know everything, and nothing will ever be the same.
At 6:55, Sharon stared at her phone on the coffee table. The yearbook opened beside it. Her phone lit up with a message. Looking forward to our call. Sharon, 7 p.m., my time works.
She was kind. The woman I was raised to hate was kind.
She stood and paced the small apartment, rehearsing what she would say.
What if Amy's version is different? What if she blames my mother for something worse?
She opened the yearbook to Amy's note, tracing the faded ink as if it could anchor her.
This note proves the timeline. I just need her to confirm it.
At 6:59, she settled by the window, the evening light fading to gray.
5 minutes. That's how long until nothing is ever the same.
The phone buzzed, the caller ID showing Amy. Sharon pressed the green button and lifted the phone to her ear, her pulse hammering.
Hello? Is this Amy?
Yes, it's me, Sharon. Is that you?
It's me. Thank you for agreeing to talk. I know this must be strange.
The voice on the other end was soft, nothing like the sharp, vindictive woman Sharon had been raised to expect.
Strange, yes, but not unwelcome. I always wondered if I'd hear from you someday.
She sounds kind, like a stranger who carries no anger at all.
Your father was a good man, Sharon. I hope you know that. Whatever else you might have heard.
I don't even know where to start. There's so much I need to ask.
Start wherever you need to. I've been expecting this call.
Sharon took a breath, and the words spilled out before she could stop them.
I found a note in my mom's yearbook, signed by you in 1991. It said, "He's all yours." My mother always told me the affair happened in 1995.
There was no affair, Sharon. George and I dated briefly, but your mother pursued him so aggressively that I stepped away. I moved in 1992.
For 25 years, I believed you were the reason my family was broken. I hated you.
I am sorry you grew up with that, but I've built a life without that bitterness, and I hope you can too.
Her voice was gentle, no trace of the malice Sharon had been trained to expect.
She's not angry. She's asking for peace. How do I make peace with this?
I am asking you not to use what you've learned to punish your mother. Let the truth set you free, not start a war.
I can't promise to forgive her, but I promise I won't involve you. I won't drag your name into this.
When the call ended, Sharon sat in the silence, the weight of her new promise pressing on her chest. 3 days passed, and Sharon could barely look at her mother.
Every time she spoke, I heard the lie. I couldn't stay in that house.
She went back to the attic, needing the physical work to drown out the noise in her head. Her hand touched a cardboard box she hadn't noticed before, marked in her father's handwriting. George, personal. Inside were several leather journals, worn at the edges, smelling of old paper.
Dad kept journals. Why didn't I know about these?
She opened the first one, the date inside from the year her parents married.
This is his handwriting, same steady loops I saw on birthday cards.
She hesitated, knowing these pages might hold answers she wasn't ready for. Then Sharon began to read, and her father's silent world unfolded. The early pages held mundane moments: a new job, a fixed furnace, a baby girl born in July who looked exactly like him. Then she found an entry from the year she turned 6. Her father had written, "Beverly is telling people things that aren't true about me and Amy. She's built a story so she doesn't have to face why she's unhappy. I could leave, but then Sharon would grow up without her mother."
He knew. All those years, he knew she was lying about him, and he stayed silent for me.
Page after page revealed a man who loved his daughter more than his own reputation, who swallowed her mother's poison so she could have a family. Then she opened the last journal, its final entry dated 2 weeks before the heart attack that took him, the 4th of October. "Sharon will figure it out someday. I hope she remembers me as I was, not as Beverly told her I was." A tear dropped onto the page, blurring the ink. Sharon didn't bother to wipe it away.
You gave up your life to protect me from a lie. I won't let her version be the only one left behind.
She closed the journal, her grief now hardening into something she could use. The next day, Sharon walked into the living room with the yearbook and placed it open on the coffee table in front of Beverly.
Mom, I need you to look at this note and tell me the truth. Did Dad really have an affair with Amy in 1995?
I told you before, that note means nothing. You are twisting things to hurt me.
I am not trying to hurt you. I just want the truth. I've spoken to Kathleen and Pamela.
You went behind my back to my friends. You are just like your father, always judging me, never loyal.
She's still deflecting. Loyalty isn't covering up a lie that destroyed his reputation.
I gave you a good home. How dare you dig up the past just to make me the villain?
I can't keep doing this. Not yet.
Sharon picked up the yearbook and left the room, leaving her mother's accusations hanging in the air.
She'll never admit it. I have to tell the truth for him. I'll make a memorial booklet. Let his words speak.
Sharon spent every evening for a week hunched over her laptop, the yearbook and journals stacked beside her.
I am building a case for his innocence, but it feels like building a coffin for the mother I thought I had.
She scanned the signed page from 1991 and placed it at the center of the booklet, with the date circled in bold. She typed out the words her father had written, including the final entry, letting his voice speak for itself.
This isn't revenge. This is resurrection. His memory deserves to be free of her story.
When the design was finished, she printed a proof and held it, the weight of a life in her hands. She printed 20 copies at a local shop, placing them in a box with a photo of George on top.
I'll send them only to the people who mattered. Kathleen, Pamela, a few of Dad's friends. Not her.
She set the date for the 1-year anniversary of his death in a small community room and mailed the invitations.
1 month from now, I'll stand up and read his words, and the truth will finally be spoken.
2 weeks before the memorial, Sharon let herself into her mother's kitchen. She placed a canvas bag on the table and pulled out the yearbook and George's journals.
Mom, I need you to look at these and answer one question. Did you make up the affair with Amy?
Why are you doing this? I've told you the truth. You are just twisting everything.
I am not twisting anything, Mom. The timeline doesn't work. Amy's note. Your friend's memories, Dad's journals. They all say the same thing.
Your father's journals? You've been reading his private things? How dare you?
Sharon didn't react. She stood quietly, waiting. The silence stretched for 45 minutes. Then Beverly's chin trembled. She reached for the yearbook, her fingers brushing the 20-year-old ink.
I was unhappy, Sharon. I needed a reason for why the marriage felt so cold. So I told myself it was because of Amy. I told the story so many times I started to believe it. It wasn't supposed to hurt anyone.
Sharon listened, then gathered the items and walked out, leaving her mother weeping at the table. On the 1-year anniversary, the small community room was filled with a dozen chairs, floral arrangements, and a large photo of George on an easel. Kathleen and Pamela sat in the front row, their copies of the booklet already in hand, their expressions somber.
Thank you all for coming. My father deserved more. But this is what I can give him. 2 months ago, I found a note in my mother's yearbook that changed everything I believed about my father. The 4th of October. Sharon will figure it out someday. I hope she remembers me as I was not as Beverly told her I was.
When she finished, there was no applause, only the soft sound of Pamela wiping her eyes.
I can't erase what I grew up believing, but I can tell the truth now. My father was not an adulterer. He was a good man.
She handed each guest a booklet, the yearbook page reproduced inside as the cornerstone of his redemption. Beverly's chair remained empty. No one asked about her.
It's done. He's free now, and I am free too.
After the guests left, Sharon stayed behind to fold the chairs, the only sound the scrape of metal on tile. A single white lily lay on the easel where her father's photo had been. She slipped it into her booklet and closed the door. The drive home was silent, the streets empty, the city lights blurred by unshed tears. She set her keys on the counter and saw the voicemail icon blinking on her phone. Beverly's message played. Sharon, I know you hate me. I just needed to say, I understand. I am sorry.
She said the word. But apology without accountability is just noise.
Sharon pressed delete and placed the phone face down. The weight of the day settled into her shoulders. She pulled a canvas bag from the closet and packed the old yearbook, along with one spare copy of the memorial booklet.
Tomorrow, I take this to him. Then, this part is finished.
She placed the bag by the front door, the corners of the yearbook pressing through the fabric like a final sign. The next evening, she drove to the cemetery with the canvas bag. The sun was already sinking behind the trees.
Hi, Dad. It took me 25 years, but I finally know the truth.
She knelt and placed the yearbook on the grave, open to the page Amy had signed 3 decades ago.
I hope you know I remember you as you were. Not the lie she told. The truth is here now.
A gentle breeze lifted the corner of the page, as if someone had finally heard her.
Goodbye, Dad. I'll carry you with me the right way from now on.
She stood, the golden light washing over her, and turned toward the horizon. Toward the horizon. The yearbook stayed on the stone, open to a truth that had waited 25 years to be spoken. And behind her, the sun set on a story that could finally be laid to rest. She walked back to her car, the gravel crunching under her feet, the sky darkening to violet. The drive home was quiet, the radio off. For the first time in months, her mind was still. Her apartment greeted her with the same silence, but tonight it felt different, lighter.
The yearbook is gone. The lie is gone. I am still here, but I am not the same person who opened that box.
She picked up the spare memorial booklet from the coffee table and opened it to her father's photo. His face looked back at her, the same gentle eyes, now freed of the burden he'd carried for decades.
I'll never know exactly what you sacrificed day by day, but I know why you did it. Thank you for loving me more than your own name.
She closed the booklet and placed it on the shelf next to a framed photo of the 3 of them. A picture from before the story poisoned everything. The photograph belonged to a past she couldn't change, but the shelf now held the truth she had uncovered. Outside, the night settled in, but inside, the story was finally complete. The next morning, the apartment was filled with pale winter light, and Sharon sat on the couch, the memorial booklet open on her lap. She read her father's words one last time, the ink of his journal still fresh in her memory.
I hope she remembers me as I was.
She closed the cover and placed the booklet on the shelf beside the photograph, a permanent part of the home now. She poured a cup of coffee and stood at the window, watching the city wake. Outside, a mother pushed a stroller, and Sharon thought of the parents she'd been given, one who lied, one who endured.
Today, the bitterness had faded into something softer, a quiet understanding that didn't require forgiveness.
She set down the cup and grabbed her keys. The day was ahead, and for the first time it felt like hers. As she locked the door, she glanced back at the shelf where the booklet stood, a silent testament, and then she walked out into the sunlight, ready to carry her father's truth forward, not as a burden, but as a gift. She returned to the cemetery the following morning, when the dew still clung to the grass. The yearbook lay open on the stone, untouched, the pages damp with morning mist.
You are still here, just like you always were, waiting for the truth to catch up.
She knelt and gently closed the book, pressing her palm against the cover.
Thank you, Dad, for everything you carried. I'll make sure the world remembers.
She stood, placing the yearbook back on the grave, its corners beginning to curl from the night air. The sun broke over the trees, turning the cemetery gold. For a long moment, she felt his presence, not as a ghost, but as a peace that settled into her bones.
I am ready now. Ready to live the life you gave up so much to protect.
And as she turned to leave, the light caught the ink on the page, and the words seemed to glow once more. Take care of him. And then she walked away, and this time she didn't look back.